Hey, what is up everybody? I'm Chance and welcome back to part 4 of Our Life, Beginnings, and Always. Let's go. Alright, last we left off, we had an interesting fun times, not so fun times on the beach making sandcastles, sand mansions, sand houses, whatever. Shiloh got a little upset, Cove got a little weird. We had some conversations. I felt a little guilty. Let's keep it going. Let's see where this story spins us. Alright, so here's the sandcastle one that we did. So let's go ahead. We're gonna go shopping. Because I wish I could go shopping right now. Alright. Come back before it gets dark. Alright, sport? The familiar voice drifted across the street and drew your attention away from the snail you'd been watching inch slowly across the pavement. Cove waited in front of his dad, pushing his green hair back off his face from where the breeze was blowing it over his glasses. He looked to be paying only a mild amount of attention as he was being handed a few slips of green paper. It reminded you of when you first met Mr. Holden. Yep, although he's probably not paying Cove to be friends with himself. Well, that's good. Cove's dad seemed to feel your gaze somehow, or maybe you made a noise, because a second later his eyes were on you. He waved you over with a smile. He looked happy to see you, but you still felt a little weird for getting caught. You've got to learn how to be more sneaky. You brushed your hands together to free them of sand, then jogged over to join the two, smiling at Cove first, and then his dad. Jamie, hi!
How's it going?
Good to see you again. What excitement are you up to today, Jamie? Taking a walk. I found a pretty cool snail across the road. There's lots of snails around here. I love how he's like so interested in like collecting and finding things. Mr. Holden grinned at you kindly. After you finished answering the question, Mr. Holden's attention returned to Cove, who was preoccupied with folding the bills he had into a tiny rectangle. Sounds fun. You know, Cove was about to hit the stores by the beach. Why don't you go with him? You paying me again? You gave a ready nod, turning to squint in the direction of the stores like you could see the goods they had to offer all the way from where you stood. Oh, is that okay?
Yeah.
I don't mind. Great. I'm sure you guys will have lots of fun. Mr. Holden reached out into his pocket and pulled out a leather wallet filled with money. You found it odd since your mom's only ever seemed to have cards in theirs. Here. He leaned in to pass a crisp tin to Cove, giving him a wink and a whisper. Get something for your friend, too. Sure.
Good.
That's my boy. Cove's dad ruffled his son's hair as he straightened back up the bill in the hand still held out towards the green-haired boy. Take care. Cove accepted the bill after a second and slipped it into his pocket. Then, with one last nod to his dad, he turned and started walking. You followed after him, intrigued at the possibilities this outing might bring. Oh, sad boy. Cove strayed toward the gentle tide creeping up the sand and you fell into place beside him. It was a nice day. The sun was shining and there weren't many clouds in the sky, though the wind coming off the ocean kept it from being too hot. That's actually the really good thing about freaking beaches, is it's almost perfect, aside from getting baked by the sun and getting sunburned and all that fun stuff. You took in a deep breath, enjoying the scent of the salt and ocean air. When you looked at Cove, he was dragging his feet through the sand a little, and you slowed down to wait for him. His eyes searched the ground intently. Are you looking for snails? Are you looking for shells? What is it? You didn't feel the need to ask why. Let's go ahead and ask if he's looking for snails, because we were looking for snails earlier. Cove looked over at you, wrinkling his nose. Who would want something like that? Me? You felt the urge to defend the activity you'd been indulging in only a short while ago. A lot of people. No way. They're weird, and you can't take them anywhere because they're bugs. You have to leave them alone. Cove chuckled to himself, and that ended the discussion. He can think what he wants, and you'll think your own things. The comforting sound of the waves filled the silence with pleasant white noise, and you played a little game with yourself as you walked along, getting as close to the water as possible without getting wet. It resulted in you having to run up the sand quickly when a wave rushed in more than a few times. And although Cove threw a few glances your way, he didn't say a word. You didn't either. What did you want to go to the shops for? What do you usually do on the beach? We'll ask about the shops. I need a new sand pail. Yeah? What happened to your old one? Cove narrowed his eyes, seeming to think deeply for a second.
Wow.
It disappeared. What? Really? Cove ducked his head down, lacing his fingers behind his back. It didn't seem like he was going to continue, so you nudged his arm. How did that happen? Well... Cove opened his mouth, then shut it again, considering. I took it to the beach one day. Uh-huh. When I got home, it wasn't anywhere. You left it there? Nope, it wasn't at the beach when I went back. Then you lost it. It disappeared. It's probably the mermaids.
So...
What about you? What do you do out here? I clearly play the game of don't get touched by the waves. I don't come to the beach a lot. I like swimming. I like looking at fish. I like to build sandcastles. Nothing. You know what? We're gonna go with the I like looking at fish. I'm sure he likes swimming too. But I find I like that he likes to look for things. So they don't like me, so they always swim away if I get close. But they're pretty before that. Cool. Starfish are fun. They aren't going anywhere, even if you touch them. A small laugh escaped you. That's true. Once you reached the shopping area, the noise level grew exponentially. No longer just waves and footsteps, but the chatter of people enjoying the lovely summer day, the call of birds trying to find a bit of food left behind, and lots of salespeople trying to get attention. You sniffed the air as you walked beside Cove. You could still smell the ocean, but there were other scents now too. Pizza, pretzels, hot donuts. It's nice. It's not very nice. It's alright. It's nice. Especially considering this year, y'all. The energy surrounding the area seemed to fill you, and there was a bounce in your step as you began looking at all the familiar sights. There were so many things to do, you didn't know where to begin. You looked at Cove, hoping he was just as excited as you were. Cove was glancing from one side of the street to the other, with a look in his aquamarine eyes that you couldn't quite work out. What's that? Cove pointed to a large crowd of people gathered near a few tables with large colorful umbrellas blooming from their middles. You couldn't see past the adults who were blocking the way, but you knew there must be something worth seeing. Without another word, the two of you hurried over to see what all the commotion was about. Heck yes, let's do it. Amazing Alexander! Feast your eyes on the amazing Alexander! In the center of the crowd was a man with a tall hat and a funny green coat that had 3 long tails. There was a little table next to him with a cloth hanging over it that read, "The Amazing Alexander" in glittery golden script. Why tell people his name if it's already on a sign? Cove hummed with understanding, then turned to walk away just as the Amazing Alexander began shuffling a deck of cards. Maybe we could stay and watch. Cove glanced back at the man. He then briefly lifted his arms up off his sides before returning them to place. You grinned, waving for him to follow you as you raced back to stand in the crowd. With that, it began. The magic man pulled one card out of the deck, showing it to the curious onlookers. It was a 4 of diamonds. Watch closely. You did, squeezing through a few of the adult onlookers to get a better view. Suddenly, the man snapped his fingers, and the card just disappeared. Dude! Cove, what if your pail got disappeared by the amazing Alexander? Whoa! The amazing Alexander, who had earned his title, turned his head and looked directly at you. He reached out with a kind smile. What's this behind your ear? Nothing, tell me. You backed away. Let's see, we're excited. Tell me. This had to be going somewhere and you needed to find out. He smelled like popcorn and candy when he slept closer. It was great. You felt a tug, and then he pulled the 4 of diamonds out from behind your ear. What? You knew that it couldn't really have come from your ear, but you still didn't get how he'd done it. There was a light applause from the crowd, and the man gave a deep bow. This is for you. The magician plucked a pair of balloons from a clump of them tied down to his table. Both were in the shape of a dolphin, that's cool, instead of being a normal circle. And one for your friend, too. Thank you for being my assistant. Wow. Look at his eyes. Now you are really grateful he chose you. After that, he went to someone else in the crowd. Pick a card, any card. My uncle does that every time he visits. Not the balloons, the stuff with the cards. Cove spoke plainly without reaching over to take the dolphin that had been designated for him. Maybe it wasn't so special. Cove was just ruining the fun. At least you had a fun time. You wondered if Cove's whole family was magic. At least you had a fun time. You saw a magic trick and you got a great balloon. That was more than enough to make it a worthwhile event. You thought that if you could find a card to practice with, maybe you could make it disappear too. The crowd started to clear some, and you noticed to the side that there was a whole rack of brightly colored kaleidoscopes on display. You picked up a kaleidoscope, you picked up a Rubik's Cube, you picked up a magic 8-ball, you walked past the toys. I mean, I saw a kaleidoscope. So yeah, let's go with kaleidoscope. Those are always fun. Oh, these are cool! You shifted your balloon string to your other hand so you could bring the mysterious tunnel to your eye. A whole palette of colors appeared right in front of you, spinning into all kinds of different shapes as you twisted the end of the tube. Cove picked up and looked through, twisting the tube at the end. After a second, he set it back on the rack, moving to the other side of the stall. He went under the awning, careful of his own floating dolphin, and you joined him. Did you have places like this in your old town? Are you having fun? I don't really like it here. You say nothing. Do we bring up the old town or do we ask if he's having fun? We're gonna ask if he's having fun. Always avoid the confrontational stuff. He nodded, and you smiled back at him, happy to hear it. When Cove moved towards some stalls nearby, you followed beside him. Oh, that's cool! Crab, turtles, dolphins, sharks. While Cove looked at sand pails, you were drawn to a table with colorful keychains laid out on it. They were sewn in the shape of sea creatures, and there was a plaque that read, "Handmade," standing proudly in front. There were lots of different types. You saw a dolphin, a shark, a crab, a turtle. You picked up the dolphin, you picked up the shark, you picked up the crab, you picked up the turtle. We're gonna go turtle. Turtles are cute. Your hand stopped on the sleeping turtle, just barely poking its head out of the shell. It had flecks of metallic green. I think I like green. I keep picking green things. It had flecks of metallic green on its back that caught the sunlight when you picked it up. You remembered the turtles you had seen once at the aquarium. You had been mesmerized by the way they gently glided through the water. You were instantly enamored. Checking the price though, your heart fell. $6. You didn't know much about money, but you thought that was a lot to spend on one thing. You really had more than a $5 bill to your name. Is that what you want? Huh? Oh. It's $6. I didn't bring any money.
Alright.
It's fine. Really? Really? Are you sure? Hooray. You don't have to. I'm like, okay. I don't want you to get it for me. We'll go, are you sure? Cove took the keychain from your hands. Aww. And that was that. He was holding a small yellow bucket for himself too. I was always gonna get you something. I already got the money for it. You smiled, pleased to have things work out. Aww. It was nice of Cove's dad to let Cove buy something for you too. You had to remember to thank him next time you saw him. After Cove paid, the two of you stepped out of the store side by side, your balloon dolphins knocking together and spiraling around in the air. You watched Cove hold up his new pail to his face, examining it thoroughly. Hey, Cove. Yeah? Your dad gives out money a lot, huh? I really like this keychain. Never mind. Of course, we're not going there. We're never gonna go here if we can avoid it. Thank you. It's nice. Cove looked further down the street, where different food carts were lined up. He rested his non-cast arm over his stomach, and just as he did yours, let out a light growl. You hadn't eaten since breakfast, and after all of this wandering around, you were definitely ready for some lunch. Let's get some food. Yeah. You two wandered around a short while looking at all the delicacies that were available. Everything looked delicious, and as the different smells, both sweet and salty, wafted over to you, your stomach growled even louder. It's making me hungry just thinking about. After passing up hot dogs, snow cones, ice cream, and pizza, you both agreed on pretzels. I can agree with that. Cove got something sweet and cinnamony, and you? Got a plain one, got one with cheese, got one with sprinkles, got one with chocolate, got the same. We are going with cheese! You licked your lips hungrily as the vendor handed your pretzel over, ready to take a big bite. My mouth, y'all. It was covered in gooey, melted cheese, just the way you liked it. It seemed odd to get a dessert... It seemed odd to get a dessert pretzel before eating normal food. You found an empty table close enough to the beach that the grit of the sand made terrible noises when you dragged the chairs out to sit down. These balloons are gonna make it hard to eat. Cove placed his bucket on the table as he stared at his still balled up hand that was wrapped around the string. You opened your mouth to agree before an idea hit you. I know. After carefully placing your pretzel somewhere it wouldn't get sandy, you tugged the balloon dolphin out of Cove's hand and tied it in a delicate bow around his wrist. Oh. Cove bounced his arm up and down in place, testing the stability of your knot. After watching his balloon jostle around but remain attached, he smiled satisfied. Can you do it for me? He repeated the ritual. That face. Cove struggled somewhat with the cast, restricting his fingers on one hand and a string already tangled around the other.
Okay.
Got it. The two of you spent a moment admiring your handiwork, both hands now free to allow easy munching on your pretzels. You bit into the doughy treat, savoring the taste of your tongue with a smile as you looked out over the ocean. After a time you finished your pretzel, you were done before Cove. It was boring not having anything to do. You pulled on the string of your balloon to bring it down to your level. Then you held the dolphin in your hands, manipulating it to make it look like it was jumping through the air. That's cute. If you turned to face towards the beach, it almost looked like it was swimming in the waves like a real dolphin. A laugh came from your side. When you glanced back at Cove, he had left the remaining parts of his pretzel on the wrapper, and he was gripping his dolphin too. So... Mine's name is Merryweather. He's the prince of the dolphins. Heck yeah. Mine's name is Splash. They star in movies. Mine's name is Cherry. She's actually an alien. Mine's name is Sam. They're just a regular dolphin. Of course, he's the prince of the dolphins. Merryweather. He wears a crown made of seaweed, and all of his friends are merfolk. Ah, yes, that's great. Every now and then, he'll make friends with a kid and let them ride on his back. You sighed, wishing you could meet a real dolphin like Merryweather. It's true. What's yours? Cove considered this question, placing the balloon against the table and resting his free arm across it in contemplation. It's... With a loud pop, the dolphin explodes into ribbons. Aww. Oh no. For a second, all Cove... No! I know, I would be really sad too. For whatever reason, popping balloons makes me incredibly sad. For a second, all Cove did was gape in shock like you. Then his cheeks puffed up, squinting his eyes, and you saw tears start to glisten. Jamie, it... Oh! You made a joke, you offered to find Alexander, you offered to give Cove your balloon, you didn't say anything, he would be alright. Should we go get another one? We can go get another one, or I can give him mine. Yeah, because he bought me something. So, yeah. You looked at Cove, then up to your balloon, bobbing gently in the air above you. You can have mine. That was better than letting him cry more. Cove sniffled, glancing up at the balloon, then back at you. No, it's yours. I don't want to take it from you. It's okay, really. Cove shook his head. Even though it wasn't your fault, you felt bad. Still, the offer seemed to lift Cove's spirits, and that was good. Oh, the passing of Cove's... the passing of Cove's balloons were the last major event of your adventure. In the end, the two of you headed back late that afternoon. You separated on the beach, and while Cove went straight home with his brand new sand pail in hand, you decided to sit for a while. You watched the waves and the sunset fiddling with your new keychain. Another summer day was drawing to a close. It had been a good one, except for the sad final note. And that's that. Oh, that sucks. I really wish he would have taken my balloon. But it's okay. The offer did make him feel better, it seemed. So it's all good. So on that happy yet sad note, this is going to be the end of part 4 of this. We have 3 more of these to do until we clear it out, and then I think we're just going to end summer, I guess. Or I'll end up buying these DLC and we'll go through all of them. We'll see. But anyways, I hope you liked this. If you did, hit that thumbs up. Subscribe if you want to see some more stuff. And bye.